I know it goes against sanity and safety, but at this point in the year, I start hoping for snow. A lot of snow. I love to see the snow pile up in banks and drifts along the sidewalks and the sides of the roads. I love to go tromping through the snow at night and then settle in somewhere warmly wrapped against the cold to look at the stars, the incredible, beautiful stars, or to go out at night and walk and wander through a storm, or to watch the moon, as the story says, on the breast of the new fallen snow. This full moon is called the long night moon because it is above the horizon for the longest time, and it is dazzling in its beauty. I, who swears she hates the out of doors, own plenty of clothes to wrap up and go out into the winter forests and hear the wind creak and sigh through the trees and the water sing by under the ice. I love the wildness of winter, its danger and its unpredictability. I love the magic of the dark. I love the wonder of the stars. I love winter. We don't have enough mystery in our lives, and that's winter's job. It comes to introduce us to the unknown and the hidden, to the small miracles and the huge ones. There's so much room for our imagination in the dark. There are nooks and crannies where magic can hide to peep out only when no one's looking or when someone's only seeing from the corner of one's eye. This is the time of telling tales not only of our history, but also our dreams. People have seasonal depression, and it is indeed awful. But plenty more of us stagnate during this time because we don't venture into the heart of the wonder. We neither walk with muffled step into the city, nor do we luxuriate in the time inside before the fire with a friend or a book. It is the time of stories, of making sense of a year's worth of work. It is a time of gathering around the hearth, hot tea, seasonal cookies, twinkling lights. What's not to like? We of privilege have the option of coziness, and we should delight in and savor it. But it stops us from taking it for granted when we do that. It stops us from thinking it is our due. But still, let's go outside. If we don't, we miss a very important component to the human story. I don't know what it is about me and snow, but it totally invigorates me. I, who can ignore clutter in my house for weeks, months on end, will be out shoveling the white fluffy stuff once an hour. I even shovel the neighbor's walk so as not to cut short my time. There's something about the air. There's something about the fact that water crystallizes that amazes me. I'm not going to sing the Frozen song. You can relax. And then there's warm tea and good work inside. I love it. Sometimes I feel we've taken awe and wonder and shrunk them down into the smallest possible container. Hollywood's in charge of our understanding of these two things, and it's all special effects. And we get it all on our digital screens. But when the leaves are off the trees, and you can see across a valley or a huge expanse of white fields, or you can sit in the shelter of a rock and look up at a huge dark sky studded with stars. When you take a breath of that cold air, those are moments in which I feel wildly alive. Perhaps I just feel wild. Perhaps I am part of nature in that moment, and the animals leave their tracks across the wide white expanse exactly as we do, and they remind us that they live beside us. A favorite fantasy author, Sharon Shin, writes a series about a world that is set to rights once a year when a huge chorus sings. The chorus is made up of angels and humans. And the angels hover, sometimes cradling the human singers in their arms. Long liturgies are sung. People make their way from the far corners of this land to hear the singing and to participate. There are plenty of twists and and turns in the plot that amuse me and even provoke a bit, but this notion captivates me. I find it thrilling to imagine a whole country amassed to hear the soloists singing and then lifting their voices during communal responses. There they gather, surrounded in sound that washes across the land and through the skies. You can almost hear the voices weaving the glorious hallelujah. Those are the voices I listen for on dark, starlit winter nights. I want to hear the animals whisper in the woods and in the barns on the solstice. And as commercial as it is, I want to hear the bells on Santa's sleigh. And I want to hear the silence, immense and deafening. Why such majesty? I don't know. But just like that, I can feel myself to be in the midst of the vastness of the universe, simply by walking over the bridge on the Susquehanna. It's on these long, deep nights that I really understand how small and insignificant I am, and how immense and infinite the universe. And somehow that is thrilling rather than frightening. I was so caught by Alan Lightman's book in which he described the genesis of the universe. Maybe I liked it so much because his language was so lyrical. Maybe I liked it so much because the universe sang, and as it coalesced, the chords became tonic, and the music no longer dissonant. It flowed. Hark, the herald galaxies sing. Is this where we get the notion of angels singing by the sounds the universe makes? Is there something buried in our souls or psyches that suggests such heavenly choruses? When I closed my eyes for a moment when I was reading, I could hear the music change as the worlds came into being. Somehow, whoever wrote the birth narratives knew that with creation, the heavens burst into song. Since creation happens continually, I imagine the angels must be constantly on the alert for where the next concert must be. Jeannie Lumpkin lent me the book Proof of Heaven, the story of a neurosurgeon in a coma who had a near-death experience. In his coma, when he was stuck in the muck, mire, and roots of life, it was music that lifted him up. This is wonder, not containable on a computer or television screen. It is in these moments when I believe that peace, huge peace, is possible. As impersonal as the vastness feels, I can also feel overcome with love. Most days, I think about small peace, small love. I worry about peanut butter for the food pantry, 25 last week, another 10 just this morning, and clothes for caring for kids, and whether Meals for Mustangs is going to be big enough to respond to the needs in Midwest. I write sermons and celebrations of mourning and joining, and worry that each of us might find comfort and joy, that none of us might feel too alone or too frightened. I fret that I've missed something, that I've let people down, or been too much myself and not left enough room for you. These small tidbits of peace, however, as we do them, begin to pile up in a pleasing way when we work together. But on those nights when the sky is so vast and distant, I begin to wonder if perhaps there aren't other souls spread out across the world who wonder as well. Can we be led home to one another by the stars we watch, not by huge cosmic events, but just the every twinkling that provides us a way to understand both our importance and our insignificance? There's so much work to do, but we can't lose sight of our need for inspiration and wonder. That wonder can be very small. You can blush here, Brian. I'm going to talk about you. Laura posted a picture the other day of Brian and Eleanor Grace looking into one another's eyes. It wasn't just a gooey picture of Dad melting at his new baby, which are pretty fabulous on their own and understandable. Instead, it was a snapshot of wonder. Brian was looking at new life, and she was fascinated looking at him. every bit as intent as he. In that moment, a huge thing. If Laura hadn't caught the electrons and frozen them in place, Brian might not be reminded every time he sees that picture what it felt like to see the person inside his baby girl. What would happen to us were we to let wonder and awe return to their original size? What if we were to be humbled by the grandeur, reminded both of our fleeting nature and the immense existence of life and time? What if we were to go outside again, into the winter beauty, with no particular agenda? What might we notice? What might we come to believe was true or possible? Can we understand the wildness in our souls as something to be courted rather than shunned? Where might that lead us? Do our fears and tribalism become smaller as we recognize the vastness of this universe? Might we perhaps see ourselves and one another around a fire as silhouettes first, where we are so very like one another? Could this be yet another one of those things, like not having any real absolutes, that UUs are forced to contend with? And if we don't, what do we lose? What if we were to explore the mystery and realize whatever our beliefs, there is still so much unknown, and perhaps there may be even things unknowable? Who knows? If you've seen the series that Nanso, Jen, and I have conspired on, you've seen that the star of wonder explodes outward. The W's are at the middle, and it goes out. That's what stars do. They explode. Joy does the same thing. It explodes out of us. So, I think, does peace. It's felt extremely liberating this year as I've decided not to worry about which holiday I wished people happy for, but to simply say, peace on earth. Peace on earth to you in this time of wonder. Peace on earth and all the joy that peace on earth might bring us. Peace on earth and overwhelming love. In this time of the mysterious dark, first I wish us all the experience. I wish us wonder. I wish us joy. I wish us love. I wish us peace. Whatever they mean to each of us, that's what I wish. That and a little winter wildness. They're well worth the investment. And they're all waiting outside to draw us in. Blessed be.